Hey everyone, today's guest is Nikola Šarčević, lead vocalist and bassist for the Örebro, Sweden punk rock band, Millencolin. Together we rip back the covers and take a deep dive into the writing, recording, and inspiration behind the fan favorite single, No Cigar, taken from their fourth full-length album, 2000's Penny Bridge Pioneers. This song is driving. It's not super fast like a lot of songs that Millencolin are known for, but it just drives. The interplay between the stereo guitars is killer, and the band, along with producer Brett Gurewitz, are firing on all cylinders. We've heard it before here on Krista Makes a Podcast, but Nikola shares that No Cigar was the last track written for the album, in the 11th hour. The music had been completed, but Nikola was still finishing up the lyrics the day before he tracked the vocals. Professional skateboarder Steve Caballero loved Millencolin and suggested to Tony Hawk that he feature No Cigar on his video game Pro Skater 2, which has certainly given the song legs, because here we are 25 years later, still talking about it. And the fans? Well, they've spoken too, making this one of the band's most popular songs. So for all this and a lesson in Swinglish, stick around.
Hey, hey, have you heard? Krista Makes a Podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Krista Makes a Podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Krista Makes a Podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Krista Makes a Podcast.
Nikola, how are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks, here in Sweden.
Yes, in Sweden, a beautiful, beautiful country. Absolutely love every time that Less Than Jake has ever been up there. Wonderful shows, wonderful people, and I just got a chance, the privilege of playing with Millencolin in Italy at the Bayfest.
The good old Bayfest.
The good old Bayfest. It was hot that day. If that's hot to Floridians, it's definitely hot to Swedes.
Exactly. Yeah. To us, it's always crazy hot down there. That time, in Italy, August, everyone is on the beach too. So it's a good time to be there, even though maybe September is even more pleasant weather-wise.
My band has had this issue before, and one of the bands off the top of my head is No Use for a Name. Another one was Strung Out, which we recently did a full U.S. tour with. But Millencolin, and I went and looked, it just seems like you guys were always on the opposite years from Less Than Jake, like Warped Tours.
Yeah.
And I know we've done stuff over the years, but it's surprising that we haven't done more, and I hope we can change that in the future.
You guys did it in 97, or?
We did half the tour in 1997, which that was your first year on the tour.
Yeah, we did the full thing then.
I want to talk about that because you guys started in October of 92, which is right around the time that my band started. Do you pronounce it Örebro, Sweden?
Örebro.
Okay.
It's another tricky one.
I don't know how well I'll be able to pronounce that. It is another tricky one. You started in 92. You released your debut album, Tiny Tunes, in 94. In 1995, you released Life on a Plate, which coincided with signing to Epitaph around that point. Then the band released a few more records, but it was the release of the album Penny Bridge Pioneers on February 22nd, 2000, which had more of a rock influence. It really kicked things up a notch for you guys. No Cigar is the first track on Penny Bridge Pioneers, and Brett Gurewitz from Bad Religion produced the album. So let's go up to like around 97.
Yeah.
And you're on this Warped Tour, because I know what it felt like, being a band from the States and going over to England and having people there that wanted to see my band. And here you are from Sweden. What was that like, coming to America and having people that wanted to see your band?
It was kind of weird, actually, in the beginning. I think the first time we played the States, the first show ever in the States was at Al's Bar down in downtown LA.
Oh, geez.
And this is maybe 90, is it 96? I believe it's a spring. And we, until that point, we only played mostly Sweden and then a few tours in around Europe, and I think we even went to Japan and Australia before the US tour. Anyways, going for us to the US was a bit weird, and we didn't know what to expect because we played this style of music that was you guys' sound. So we didn't know how people would take us, if they would be like, very skeptical, like, who are these guys, kids from Sweden trying to do our stuff.
How was your English in the mid-90s?
I don't know. I think fairly good.
Okay. So you weren't so much intimidated by a language barrier. You were more intimidated by, hey, we're this band that plays this melodic punk rock, and we don't know how we're going to be accepted, treated.
Accepted, yeah. But at that point, as you mentioned, we were already signed to Epitaph, and Brett came down to that show. I think Byron from Pennywise was there. And there was a bunch of people that we already knew who came down. But the exception, we didn't know how people would accept us being from Sweden. But it was not a question at all. Like people said, okay, this is cool music, so it was not an issue.
Right. So was this kind of like a dream of yours, though? I'm assuming you were fans of Bad Religion.
Yeah. I mean, we had a few bands that the reason why we started the band because we had heard Bad Religion, NoFX, Pennywise, Lagwagon, Descendants, Operation Ivy. Those were like the 5 bands that we wanted to sound like. So it was kind of easy for us because we had this very strong vision about a certain sound. So we just try to do the best we could at sounding like that sound.
Sure. And Epitaph, for all intents and purposes, I mean, they were the biggest indie label going. They were pretty much a major label at that point. What did your family and friends think? The little band that could from Sweden, all of a sudden, this guy from America is calling you a record label. That had to be exciting.
I mean, for us, Brett was for us sort of the legend, mainly actually as a songwriter. I mean, we really admired his songwriting for Bad Religion. Like, I always thought that his songs were like Generator, Anesthesia, and those kind of songs. They were always, I mean, even though we had played punk rock for a few years, I guess, but we still couldn't figure out how those songs were written. Like, it was kind of some kind of mystery punk rock. Like, so we looked up to him a lot as a songwriter, and then of course that he, as a producer, he had produced most of these bands, NoFX, Pennywise, and so on, and Rancid. And then as he owned the label, so it was a really big thing to of course get signed to Epitaph, meet Brett, hang out with him, become a friend with him, and then also like later on. But I guess we'll get to that point when we decided to make Pennybridge Pioneers together with Brett. That was like for us like full circle. But then like friends and family, they hardly knew what we were doing. People in the Swedish scene, like the Burning Heart record company, I mean, they knew, and for all those bands was a big thing. But like family and friends who weren't into music, they couldn't really.
Yeah, they didn't understand the magnitude of it. It was, yeah, I understand. Well, No Cigar was the 3rd single released from the album after Penguins and Polar Bears and Fox. It was the first track on the record. And No Cigar was also featured in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
Yeah.
And Less Than Jake was on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. And I know what that did for our band.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I've talked to John Feldman from Goldfinger. They had a couple songs on Tony Hawk. And to be picked and be on that thing, that made you a legit band. And if the song was halfway decent, and in our case, it's now one of our biggest songs. All My Best Friends Are Metalheads. What was that like? What'd you see with that happening? Did you see fans finding out about your band strictly from the game?
For sure. I mean, at the time, we got on that game thanks to Steve Caballero.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Because we got to know him. He was actually like a major Millencolin fan. I mean, before we started Millencolin, we were skaters. So we got into punk rock through skateboarding. So we knew about skateboarding, Tony Hawk, Steve Caballero, and that whole scene before punk rock, basically. That's how we got into punk rock, through the skateboard scene.
Did you meet Steve on the Warped Tour?
Well, we met him before. We played a show, Slims, I believe, in San Francisco. And we didn't know who was coming to the show. Maybe the guys from Sam I Am showed up. We knew them before. But then our merch guy comes down just before the show. He comes into our dressing room. He's like, guys, you can't believe who's here. I'm like, what do you mean? Like who? I was like, Lance Mountain and Steve Caballero. It's insane. Like,
oh man.
And they bought all your T-shirts, all your CDs. And like, wow. and they want to meet you after the show. And I was like, wow. And then we met, both Steve and Lance, and especially Steve was a big fan actually. And then so he talked to Tony. I don't think he was a character in the first game. Maybe I got it wrong, but when he got asked to be in the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, I think he mentioned that I would like to, have my character able to skate to Millencolin. And I think you should check out this band.
That's awesome.
So he basically got us in the game, which of course, as you mentioned, like for all the bands who were on that soundtrack and in that game was a huge thing. Even though we couldn't really tell it how things are sort of delayed when you put out a new album.
Oh yeah, I was going to say that too. It for us it was later. It wasn't immediate with the game. It took a couple of years, and then it was just like nonstop. It almost seemed like every show or every meet and greet we do with fans, I heard you on Pro Skater.
Exactly. So it's basically like maybe 5 years later you can actually say like, oh, okay, that was. And even now with Spotify, it's easier to say like, okay, because you have the numbers like, okay, it's been played 4 times more than the second most played song. So you can actually see the impact in numbers. But at that time, we just knew, of course, and we were grateful to be in the game, but we couldn't really tell. We didn't get the whole picture of how huge of an impact it was for the band. We didn't even have a No Cigar as a single, actually. We, as you mentioned, we had Penguins and Polar Bears as the first single, and then Fox. And then there wasn't really a third single. And when we were talking about singles, we were mentioning No Cigar, but at that time, the game wasn't out, I believe. So we didn't really push it with a single. I mean, which we could have done if we would have known the big impact of the game and so on.
Well, and I have a question for you, okay? I mean, those 2 songs are great, Penguins and Polar Bears and Fox. What if those were on Pro Skater? Would we be talking about those songs now? Because that game was so big, and I often thought about that for us. If we would have had a different song, I'm assuming it would have been just, unless the song was a complete dud, it would have been just as powerful.
Probably. It's an interesting question, and I guess we never know the answer to it.
We'll never know.
But
you guys recorded at West Beach Recorders in Hollywood, and that's where all those classic Bad Religion records that you and I love were recorded. Over a 5-week span, you recorded July 28th of 99 to September 6th of 99. The record was engineered by Brett as well, along with Donnell Cameron, and assisted by Jay Gordon. And take us back. Do you remember writing No Cigar?
Yes. What we did when we decided to make this album, it wasn't really a sort of an obvious choice to actually. We had been on a hiatus, actually. We took a break the summer before in 98, and we didn't really know if the band was actually going to continue. But then our record label manager, Peter from Burning Heart, he wanted us, of course, to make a new album. And he said that maybe Brett from Epitaph will be interested in producing your next album. And that was actually... that took away all the questions, like if we were going or not going to make a new album. Just like, okay, is he willing to produce it? Of course, okay. So that's how we decided to make it. And then half a year later, summertime, as you mentioned, we came in and we had... So Brett got all the songs on demos for the album before, except for No Cigar, because that song was written like after we sent him the demo. I don't know when we sent the demo, maybe in whatever, March, April... May,
okay,
before the summer. So that song we wrote as the last song, that and I guess the ballad, but even the No Cigar was written as the last song, and based on a riff that Matthias, the guitarist, his riff, and as soon as I heard the riff, I don't know, I kind of figured out the 4 chords to sort of go over it in that key, and instantly I was so excited, like just hearing the chords. I could, it was so easy for me to just find a melody. That's usually how we would write songs at that time. We would go into the rehearsal room. Matthias would play the riff like very loud, in the room, and I would get sort of inspired by, loudness and the actual riff. And I would just spontaneously come up with melodies to it. And usually I would hear the riff maybe the first time I hear it, that's when I would immediately go up to the mic and start singing something. And usually the first thing I would sort of come up with melody-wise would be the melody that would stick and be the main melody.
You know, I hear that a lot on this show. It's the song that was written in the 11th hour. It was the last thing, and all of a sudden it becomes your signature song. I absolutely love that. The band has released 5 albums since Penny Bridge Pioneers, the most recent being 2019's SOS, and we'll talk about all that a little bit later. I want to jump into the song right now, Nikola, if we can. It's 2 minutes and 43 seconds of awesomeness. The intro is 4 bars of distant filtered drums and a lone guitar playing the song's signature riff. Drums are playing a snare roll, culminating with 2 hits simultaneously of the kick drum and open hi-hat. That brings in the whole band. The whole band's no longer filtered, the drums, but the drums are in along with bass guitar, stereo guitars, and that riff guitar panned off left for 8 bars. A pop on the snare takes us into verse 1. Tell us where you're from, what you want to become, and we'll say if you're okay. Where did you go to school? Right answer, and you're cool. Yeah, you're the kid the whole day. You got a sticker in your face, information about the case, so you know your potential. Don't think you can extend. Don't think you can extend. Just comprehend. You ever had your lyrics spoken to you, Nikola?
No, this is the first time, actually. Nice. And speaking of like 11th hour, the lyrics I actually wrote like hours, like the night before I went into the studio to sing it.
Oh, wow. So you had the music, you had the arrangement, but not the...
I had the melodies, we had everything. And I was just about to... I knew the next day, I mean, it was on the list, like to-do list, like, and this was at the end of the recording, and it was time to lay down the vocals, and I knew that next day is No Cigar, because we kept on pushing that song as maybe one of the last songs because I didn't have the words. I knew coming back to the hotel or the apartment that we were renting, I knew that, okay, I have to write the lyrics now. So, and I think I finished them like 2:00 in the morning or something.
You ever feel when your back's against the wall, like sometimes that pressure is good for songwriting? I feel like sometimes when you have to do something, it's like, crap or get off the pot. We need some lyrics here. How do you work under that pressure? How was that for you?
I guess I'm lazy by nature, or some can maybe say that it's rational to actually procrastinate and do stuff when they actually need to be done rather than long time before. For me, it wasn't something new. This was the 4th album that we recorded, and it was kind of the process, that like a natural process. I would usually have maybe half of the lyrics written when we would enter the studio, and during the studio time, I would actually sit down.
I think that's kind of normal. I think a lot of bands do that. They'll have the core of the song. Did you have the title No Cigar, or did that come through the lyrics? As we get that title of the song one time in verse 2. Did the title come first, or did you have the lyrics first?
The words and the title No Cigar, those words were not existing before. So we probably had some working title that I can't remember right now, but it was something different. And so that was just something that was in the lyrics when I wrote it. And I guess after the whole song was done, maybe we wanted to, of course, have a title for the song. And we just went, sometimes usually you would go for maybe some words in the chorus, or maybe the first line of the verse or whatever. Here's those second verse, random words kind of, in a way.
It's interesting. I love that in songwriting, though. I love that it can be random like that.
Yeah.
There's no rules. What's happening here in verse 1? What are you trying to say?
Verse 1, I guess I'm kind of, the whole song, I guess, I'm kind of speaking to myself, I guess, telling myself that okay as a person as I am, and I don't really. I guess it's me trying to comprehend the surrounding, and the rest of society trying to push me in certain directions just because of where I was born and where I came from, and but it's me trying to sort of break out from that and telling myself that I have the freedom to be who I want in life, and that I can do whatever I want, and I can break free from whatever I came from or whatever people think, whatever people label me as. Mm-hmm. I'm free to break free from that, and so it's about that sort of inner dialogue about the outside world.
I love it. Well, the stereo guitars here break down to eighth note palm mutes in the verse, along with bass, drums. The guitar panned off left sounds like it is slightly bigger and more distorted. Got a little growl on it. The bass almost sounds like it's got a slight bit of distortion on it. Do you recall Brett putting that on the bass? It's just got a great low end, and it's got a little bit of growl to it, a little bit of bite.
With instruments and guitar sounds and bass sounds, I'm not. That's not my sort of main thing. There's Matthias in the band who takes full responsibility for.
Well, that's why I'm here. I'm going to tell you what's going on. All right.
So I can't really remember. I remember that I played the bass.
It's only been 25 years. Come on.
But
jeez.
But there's some albums, I won't mention which albums, but let's put it this way. I haven't played bass on every song, on every Millencolin song ever recorded. It's been sometimes for just efficiency causes with other members have played the bass.
See, you're like me. I can admit when I hand the guitar off to my bass player and he plays a part. Yeah. Sometimes the other guy just plays it better. It's okay. Halfway through on the line, you got a sticker in your face, information about the case. The guitars open up here with the guitar panned off left and guitar right, both playing variations of the main riff. I love that. I've always loved bands that have two guitars that don't just play unison. Sometimes unison is great. Sometimes that has to be it. And there's parts in this song where they're doing the same thing, but I love how they break off here. And then we get into pre-chorus 1. Interesting here, the first bit of lyrics, but I don't wanna. That's still technically in verse 1. On hear it, the lyric is, but I don't want to hear it. No, it's more than I accept. That's when the downbeat comes into what I'm calling the pre-chorus. It's very short here. The guitars break back down to eighth note palm mutes. The guitar panned off left has this like do 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 kind of sound when it's doing the palm mutes. Is there a Leslie or keys there? Do you recall in this part? I'm hearing something.
Shouldn't be.
Okay, shouldn't be, because I thought maybe Brett got his organ in there or something.
I think Brett is playing piano on the ballad, but that's another song. But that's on the album. So, and I think there was a real piano. So, but I don't think. I think it's just the guitars and the drums.
I love the separation here between the guitars. They're stereo guitars, but they're really, really defined. And again, panned off left, I kind of thought like I heard a growl of a Leslie or something. But I don't want to hear it. No, it's more than I accept. But I don't want to hear it. No, it's more than I accept.
I need to shut out the outside, the voices from outside and just do my thing. It's like kind of classic Millencolin theme. I think we have it in a lot of our songs, sort of personal freedom and your sort of your personal journey rather than like more maybe classical punk rock themes where it's about. But it's also it's like you being in modern society and your role in it and what you do with it. And
coming right out of pre-chorus 1, we're into chorus 1. Because I don't care where I belong no more. What we share or not, I will ignore. I will ignore.
It's me sort of coming to a conclusion that I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm going to go my own way.
Did Brett talk to you at all? This is interesting, and I know that English is your second language. Because I don't care where I belong anymore.
Yeah.
You say no more.
Yeah.
And in rock and roll, as you know, there's no rules. But did Brett ever talk to you about that? What about Anymore? Or did he like the way that that's what you were feeling and that's what came out? Because sometimes the integrity of what the artist is projecting is more important than it being phonetically correct.
Exactly. And I think in this case, maybe we can go through it and see if I'm correct.
Or grammatically correct, I should say.
I think it's about like the timing with the sounds, because no more is just no more. And to fit in Anymore, that's three. There's 3 syllables and the other one is 2. And in this case, we need a word that's 2 syllables. It's probably that rather than, I don't care where I belong anymore. I mean, I couldn't say that really. So the only word that fits in is no more. But he probably, even like Swedish producers would tell me, like, not on this album, but on other albums, they would come in and this sounds a little bit swinglish, as we say.
Swinglish. Well, now, if English wasn't your second language, I probably wouldn't even have brought this up to another songwriter.
Exactly.
I just was curious.
Hey, everybody, don't go anywhere. We got lots more coming up with Nikola after a few words from our sponsors.
Hey, friends. Have you been loving Krista Makes a Podcast? Well, spread the love by leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Don't hesitate to share what you enjoy about the show in an actual written review on Apple Podcasts. Not only does it help more people discover us, but we often read reviews in the wrap segment of the show. It's a quick, cost-free way to support us and takes just a minute of your time. Your reviews mean the world to us and help us keep the podcast thriving. Thank you for being a listener, and thank you for being a friend.
And now, back to the show.
We get our first harmonies here in Chorus 1 on I Don't Care Where I Belong No More and on What We Share or Not I Will Ignore. Drums go to a double time on the kick and snare along with the bass and stereo guitars. Again, I love the interplay between the guitars, especially the back half here on the chorus. It's not just your run-of-the-mill playing chords. There's riffing going on between each guitar, and the more I listen to the song, the more I would, no offense, I wasn't even listening to the vocals at some point. I was really zoning in on what was happening with the guitars. It's fantastic.
Nice.
Very cool. Coming out of Chorus 1, we're in an 8-bar re-intro. Man, this part is so fun. It's dark but poppy, and sign me up. I love dark and poppy.
Yeah.
It's got tension to this riff, but it's uplifting at the same time. Absolutely love it. Right out of the re-intro, we get into verse 2.
We will shut you out. We'll put you in doubt if you think that you're special. We'll tell you who you are. We'll tell you that you're close but no cigar.
We will shut you out. We'll put you in doubt if you think that you're special. We'll tell you who you are. We'll tell you that you're close, but no cigar. There we get the title.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same. So I guess the verses are doing the same thing, sort of being the voice of society, sort of talking to me. And and then somehow I got the no cigar thing in there.
Yeah. And now when you wrote the line No Cigar, when you were combing back over the lyrics, did you have an aha moment of like, oh, there's the title of the song? Or did Brett suggest it, or who came up with the title?
I think afterwards, when we were at the point where we needed the title, I guess we were thinking it through, and it just, that was the line that sounded most like a title of a song. Because the chorus, like, I don't care where I belong no more. I mean, it could have been something like, I don't know, something with belonging, this and that. But No Cigar just sounds more punchy.
Well, and I love it too, because close but no cigar is kind of like slang. We all have them in our own languages, and I just find that interesting that translated to English for Swedish people. You never know what's going to translate.
Yeah, but I used to, and I think I still do. When I write lyrics, I usually have a sidekick, and not a person, a rhyming book.
Oh yeah, right.
So I would write down maybe one line that I think sounds good, and then different lines, and then I would just try to see whatever word the line would end on. I would look that word up in the rhyming dictionary, and I would get all these words, and that would actually sort of make my creativity come to life, because I would see all these words and I would get like new ideas.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess in this case, like far and cigar, I think I probably saw the word cigar in the rhyming dictionary, and I think I just, there's the expression no cigar, close but no cigar, and I think that's how I came up with it.
I love it. Well, the stereo guitars are hanging over from the reintro, kind of fading over into verse 2 as the drums and bass continue up until the word special. On special, the stereo guitars come back in here playing the riff, but palm muted and tucked down. Great tension there. Absolutely love it. And because that back half is tucked down here in verse 2, which it wasn't on verse 1, it was wide open there, we now tuck down for pre-chorus 2, the lyric again, but I don't want to hear it. And we get a filtered call and response backing vocal panned off right, saying, I don't want to hear it. No, it's more than I accept. Stereo guitars open up here, unlike pre-chorus 1, where the guitars were tucked back. They open up here because they tuck in verse 2, which I just mentioned. And then we're into chorus 2. We got a double chorus here with new lyrics on the back half, and I'm a sucker for that. I love choruses that, here's the chorus again. We don't get it just repeated. We get some more information, and when done well, I think it's awesome.
But I don't wanna hear it. No, it's fun and I accept, 'cause I don't care where I belong no more. What we share or that I will ignore, and I won't waste my time fitting in, 'cause I don't think good justice is sin. What they say is,
Because I don't care where I belong no more. What we share or not, I will ignore. And I won't waste my time fitting in. Because I don't think contrast is a sin. What are you saying on the back half here? Interesting lyrics.
I'm going sort of yin and yang.
Well, that's an interesting lyric here. I don't think contrast is a sin. What are you saying there?
Yeah, but I guess I'm saying that this whole world is what it's about. It's about, I mean, that's how it's built on yin and yang, and sort of good and evil, and or bass and treble and ones and zeros.
But isn't it cool though? I'm asking you because that's what we do here, and I'm curious of that lyric. But if I never got an explanation for it, it's still an awesome lyric. It's sometimes things just sing and they look on paper, it looks cool. Contrast is a sin. That's interesting.
Yeah, and I think the process of getting to that was probably seeing the word sin in the rhyming dictionary, and then I somehow sort of made sense of it.
You're kind of making me feel like if Millencolin, if you didn't have a rhyming dictionary, we might not be here right now.
For sure.
I love it. Well, on the second half here, great vocal reach on Won't. You really go up there.
And that's the sort of a little hook to get into the next part.
I wanted to talk to you about that hook. Was that something that you felt, or did Brett tell you to reach there? Do you remember?
No, that was just, I think I had that written like when we wrote the song, like when we do like the double chorus, that I would make something different to go, like to push it even more, to make it a little bit.
You want to talk about goosebumps when that part comes on, and I want to hear it again. You only get it twice in the song. You get it in the next chorus, and I'm sitting, and as a listener, I'm going, man, it's so good. But I've said this before; it makes you want to rewind it and listen to it again, which is the greatest thing. The drums are still playing double time here, but the guitar panned off left is playing staccato, punchy chords with the drums, and the guitar off right has splintered, playing like a lead thing that morphs into octaves there. Let's talk about those staccato punches. You know what I'm talking about? Dun, dun, dun. It's going with the double time of the band. The guitar left's doing that, but not right. I love it. I love what is going on there rhythmically.
Maybe we got it from NoFX that the guitars are panned out and they would do different things. I'm not sure, but we were always two guitarist band, more or less. They always try to not just play along the chorus, but do things on guitar, because the influences that we had, they did those kind of things. There's one thing that we missed that I want to ask you, like the second pre-chorus. You were talking about the filtered voice that answers, "I don't want to hear it."
Yeah.
Can you guess whose voice that is?
Is that Brett?
It is Brett.
Okay, well, I didn't think it was Brett there, but man, can I hear Brett later in the bridge, which we're getting to in a second.
Okay.
But that's Brett up there in pre-chorus too, huh?
Yeah, and I think it was his idea that it should be answered like, "I don't want to hear it, I don't want to hear it." And then I guess we're like, maybe you should sing it. That would be cool.
That's awesome. I always love extra voices. I did not pick up on Brett's voice there. I'm pretty sure he's in the bridge, though. Am I right on that?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay, well, we're going to get there. We're going to get there in a second. Chorus 2, we get harmonies again on "I Don't Care Where I Belong No More. What we share or not, I will ignore," much like the previous chorus, chorus 1. Back half, we get a harmony, "And I won't waste my time fitting in," vocal harmony on that line. And then we're into the bridge. I love this bridge because the guitars go to another riff that's simpler than the main hook riff. It kind of, I don't want to say breaks down here. It's that you guys are still rocking away, the full band, but it's a small departure, but it's enough.
Yeah.
It engages the third chorus. That the third chorus really jumps off this bridge. Drums, bass, and stereo guitars are rocking away here. The guitar panned off left, being the more riffy guitar here.
What to say is, go back, you can't find. Tell you that I don't wanna hear. No, I don't wanna hear. No, I don't wanna hear it. No, it's mine and I accept, 'cause I don't care.
What they say is, go back where you came from. They'll tell you that, but I don't want to hear. No, I don't want to hear. No, I don't want to hear it. No, it's more than I accept. And on the lines, "No, I don't want to hear. No, I don't want to hear it." There's a three-part, I put three-part Bad Religion harmony. Is that Brett on there too? I swear I hear his voice.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, even though I'm 95% sure, but yeah.
Okay.
I should have listened to the song more before, but yeah.
What I love about this bridge is it harks back to the pre-chorus lyrics, okay? So we're getting that filtered vocal again. I did not pick up that it was Brett in the pre-chorus, but here in the bridge I can. What are you trying to say here lyrically in the bridge?
I don't want to hear, I don't care what people say, really. I'm going to do things the way I believe things should be done from my perspective, and I'm going to go my own way in life.
You guys could have shoved in a third pre-chorus here. I like that you didn't. I like that it went to a bridge, but you get a lot of the same lyrical themes from the pre-chorus.
Yeah.
And I think when songs do that, it's super cool. Right off the bridge, we get into chorus 3. And again, I feel like this chorus really lifts with what the bridge did preceding it.
'Cause I don't care where I belong no more. What we share or not, I will ignore. And I won't waste my time fitting in. 'Cause I don't think you're just as a sin. No, it's not a sin.
Again, we get a full chorus, same overall instrumentation, lyrics, vocals, and harmony placement here in chorus 3 as chorus 2. But we get one more lyric at the end. After you say, "'Cause I don't think contrast is a sin," you say, "No, it's not a sin." And then we go into a 2-bar outro tag of that simple 3-note riff from the bridge. It comes back there for just 2 bars, and then the band abruptly ends. I love that little bridge riff comes back there for 2 bars, and man, I want to hear it more. I'm like, man, I could go for another round of this, but I love that it ends abruptly.
That's Matthias. I mean, he would be very focused on doing those kind of smart things, good to listen to parts that would make sense, and yeah, small things, hooks that would come back, and yeah, so that's a typical Matthias idea.
Well, my listeners know I always do. I call it the car test, but leading up to anybody I have on here as a guest, I'll listen to the song in my car, cranked up. I know how my system sounds. 25 years later, this song sounds killer. It sounds awesome.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your continued success. And what do you guys got coming up? What's up next for Millencolin?
We will continue playing live 2025. The spring of 2025 is sort of a bit unclear yet, but we'll probably do something in Europe, maybe something South America. Let's see. By the time this goes on air, it might already be official what we're going to do. But we'll do like European festivals next summer, 2025, and then let's see. I mean, it's been a while since we recorded music together. Last album was recorded pre-COVID, so it's kind of a long time ago, and let's see.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, thank you so much for giving us your time, and hope to see you guys on the road sooner than later.
For sure. Let's see if we can do something together.
Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Nikola Šarčević, but don't go anywhere. We got lots more Krista Makes a Podcast coming right up after a few words from our sponsors.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Skims or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and for shoppers buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. It's home of ShopPay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/income.
Here at Krista Makes a Podcast, we're proud to call DistroKid a sponsor. And if you're a band or artist looking to release your music, you can head to distrokid.com/VIP/dmakes to get 30% off your first year with DistroKid. Getting your music out on all the places people stream music, like Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, YouTube Music, and Amazon Music, is just the tip of the iceberg as far as what you can do with DistroKid. Get pre-saves with Hyperfollow. Pay your collaborators with splits. Stop music thieves from stealing your music and uploading it to streaming services without your permission with DistroLock. Make a mini video to use on your socials. Create Spotify canvases for your songs. Easily withdraw your earnings. Even use great built-in tools like Mixia and Instant Share to mix and collaborate. I could go on and on about all the benefits of releasing your music through DistroKid, but why not go see for yourself and save 30% on your first year at the same time, and support a sponsor of your favorite podcast. Head to distrokid.com/VIP/dmakes to learn everything you need to know about DistroKid. That's distrokid.com/VIP/dmakes. Hey there, Krista Makes a Podcast listeners. Ready to take your podcast experience to the next level? By signing up for the supporting cast at KristaMakes.com, you not only ensure the continued production of our show, but also unlock exclusive perks. Subscribers receive a weekly bonus episode of our other podcast, The After Party, co-hosted by Chris Fafalius and myself. Many fans rave that The After Party is just as enjoyable as the main show. And with close to 200 music-centric episodes in the archive, there's a treasure trove of entertainment awaiting you. Thank you for tuning in and for your support in keeping the podcast going strong. Join us at KristaMakes.com and let's keep the fun conversations going.
As we near the end of the show, here's a band you might not know.
Welcome to this week's Band You Might Not Know. If you'd like your band to be considered for Krista Makes a Podcast, email your best song via MP3 only and a short bio to bandyoumightnotknow@gmail.com. This week's featured artist is Surrender the Ghost, a 5-piece rock band from Columbus, Ohio, featuring Ricky Gonzalez on vocals, Matthew Ellis and Tony Chafin on guitars, Brandon Eldridge on bass, and Mark Johnson on drums. The band didn't send too much in way of a bio, but I can tell you one thing. They definitely love to drink. Heavily. They're from Columbus. Here's a snippet of their song, We Don't Do Pity.
The Rap with Chris and Chris.
So, Chris, when we do the rap segment, I feel like I'm always saying to you, that was an awesome episode. But I do think that was an awesome episode. Once again, I said to you, and I told Nikola this too before you started rolling, that I've been a Millencolin fan since Life on a Plate. And also, when you guys finished, I was excited to tell him, and I'm going to tell the listeners now, I never knew what the expression close but no cigar. I mean, I knew what it meant, but I didn't know where it came from. And for anyone who doesn't know, it comes from early 20th century in the United States when there were carnivals at the frustrating games that were really hard to win. You know, like where you'd shoot a basketball and the hoop is just big enough for the basketball, that the carnival barkers would say, close but no cigar, when they didn't get it because cigars were carnival prizes back in the day. So that's where that expression comes from.
What if you were the 9-year-old kid that buys back then it would have been like, 3 balls for a penny or 3 darts for a penny, and you win. Do they hand the 9-year-old a cigar?
In the early 1900s, I would guess it's either one of two things.
Probably.
Yeah, I would say either yes.
Candy cigar?
I would say either yes, or the difference is if you're a kid, you got some candy instead of a cigar. That would be my guess. But also I would be not surprised whatsoever if they just handed the kid a cigar and the kid walked over and smoked that cigar.
Yeah.
That would be no surprise to me. But dude, I loved this episode, and me being a longtime Millencolin fan, I gotta say, he called it Swinglish, right? Isn't that what he called it?
Yeah, Swinglish.
Swinglish. That I laughed when my friends and I realized that we've always loved Millencolin, but especially in those early albums, we might have only understood half of the lyrics, but that didn't matter to us. You could feel the emotion coming through the songs and also the melodies and the sound of the music. It didn't matter to us that we didn't understand all of the lyrics.
Not at all. It's kind of like when you'll see Metallica in a stadium in Italy, and there'll be people crying and singing every lyric. They don't know every lyric, probably. Maybe some of them do, but it just goes to show you the power of music and how it can move you.
Yeah. Chris, have you ever picked up a rhyming dictionary when you were working on lyrics?
I have. I've used the thesaurus back in the day. Now everything's online. You just Google it all the time because as Nikola said, a lot of times people are just looking for one word to rhyme, but that's not just what you use it for. You use it to open up other ideas to be like, ooh, I was looking for this word, but this word is actually better, or this word means something different than the other word and it fits better. So I thought that was really cool that you brought that up.
It made me think of, do you remember that Jets to Brazil album, Orange Rhyming Dictionary?
Yeah.
It made me think of past Krista Makes a Podcast guest, Blake Schwarzenbaugh. When anyone says rhyming dictionary, I always think about that album. Chris, once again, we've talked about this ad nauseum, the power of Tony Hawk. I think behind Goldfinger Superman, that this is the song I most associate with Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yeah, and it came on the second installment, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. And as Nikola said, it wasn't immediate. And I want to bring that up too. I never really clarified that. It wasn't immediate. Oh, we're on the game and you got huge. It took some years. But think of how many kids listen to those games, Chris.
Right. Oh, and those songs get pounded into your head. You don't even realize that you're gaining this love of that song maybe until years later. And you're like, oh yeah, damn, that song from Tony Hawk, that song is awesome. I mean, I also think the cross section between punk rock and skateboarding is so cool. I loved it as a kid, and I still think it's cool now. Have two things ever gone together so perfectly, like peanut butter and jelly, as this sort of extreme sport and this sort of sometimes extreme music?
You know, that's a great point. He even talked about Steve Caballero and all these, icons and legends that, these are guys from Sweden that were skateboarders, kids.
Yeah.
And they had these heroes. The next thing they know, their heroes are showing up to their show, buying every bit of merch they had. That had to be an amazing feeling.
Yeah. And dude, this song, once again, the same old story we hear on Krista Makes a Podcast all the time. He said it was the last song written for the album. Is that right?
Last song. Yeah.
Yeah. Lyrics were written in the 11th hour in the middle of the night. And look at this. 25 years later, we're talking about this because it's their most popular song.
Absolutely. And not to take anything away, I even mentioned this in the episode, not to take anything away from this song. This song's awesome. But you wonder if another one of their songs would have been on Tony Hawk, would it have the same impact? We'll never know. But No Cigar is awesome. What are you going to say?
Yeah. Great song. I think Millencolin has tons of great songs. So I think that there's a plethora of other Millencolin songs that also would have been popular, but this song is powerful.
It is.
There's something about this song. It's punk rock, but it's also rock. It kind of goes beyond just punk rock.
I don't know if I use this adjective, Chris. It's driving. This song is driving. So good. And if you're driving by KristaMakes.com, make sure you stop by and sign up for our supporting cast. What did you think of that segue?
Pretty good segue. I probably would have went with, if you're driving down the road right now, listening to this in your car, and you want even more Krista Makes a Podcast podcasts to listen to, head to KristaMakes.com. That would have been my strategy, but not bad, Chris. Not bad.
Thanks for showing me up, Chris. Yes, head over to KristaMakes.com. Sign up for a supporting cast where you get bonus episodes of the after party where Chris and I will talk at you even more. People seem to love it. Some people even say they like the after party more than this main show. I can't believe that, but they do. They do. And if you haven't already, please head over to Apple and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We love it, and I'm sure Chris has one ready to go. He's going to read you right now.
Chris, I got one here from a listener that goes by the username SeoHat, who gave us 5 stars and wrote, "Best music podcast," and also wrote, "I started listening because I love Less Than Jake, and I grew to seriously appreciate the show because of how Chris breaks down the lyrics of each song, talking to band members or songwriters about the stories of how the songs came to be. So well done and fascinating to hear from all of these artists. You can tell both Chris's love what they're doing, and each show just keeps getting better. You feel like you're in the audience having fun with them. One of my favorite podcasts of all time." That's an awesome review. I love that they say you feel like you're in the audience having fun with them, because that's how I feel about the podcast that I love. So thank you so much to SeoHat for that kind review.
That's right, SeoHat. Thank you very much, and keep those reviews coming. You never know who's going to stumble across one and want to check out the show, and it's you, the listeners, that keep this train on the tracks week to week. So thank you so much, and I want to thank this week's guest, Nikola Šarčević, for sitting in with us, and we'll see you next week.
Hi, I'm Alex Goldman. You may know me as the host of Reply All, but I'm done with that. I'm doing something else now. I've started a new podcast called Hyperfixed. On every episode of Hyperfixed, listeners write in with their problems, and I try to solve them. Some massive and life-altering, and some so minuscule it'll boggle your mind. No matter the problem, no matter the size, I'm here for you. That's Hyperfixed, the new podcast from Radiotopia. Find it wherever you listen to podcasts or at hyperfixedpod.com.